What's up, everybody? Arrg the Pirate here, and today I'm going to be jungling Kallari. As always, let's go over the deck. Jungle Lifesteal, Empowered Rounds, Critical Hits, Auto Health Potion, Ruthless, and Armored are kind of the gems that I'm going for. Now, I don't have the best gems. I'm still playing with my subs on that lower level account, so I don't have everything that's the best, but these are pretty solid gems. As for the cards, I have Living Guardian, Cull the Weak, Vampiric Blade, Swamp Stalker, Nitro Boost, Pressure Hunter, Hellfire Engine. Now that's that card that really cranks up your DPS. Heavy Hitter, Guard Piercer, Shatter Golem, and Demolitionist. Now Kallari was one of my original favorite heroes. I absolutely loved playing her, but when they changed her ultimate in Legacy, I don't know, I just didn't really like that change and kind of stepped away from her. And then towards late Monolith, she never really was. There were just so many better options than her, especially when Revenant came out, because Revenant just did so much damage, and it was very hard to offlane with her correctly. Now, I never really enjoyed playing Kallari in the jungle just because, you know, every other camp you'd have to go back to base in the early game, and once you get to late game, yeah, sure, she can clear them out, but, you know, anybody can clear jungle camps in late game. So I never really thought she was the best jungler, and I just kind of felt that she just didn't have a great, solid, you know, area to play in. But she's definitely came back in version 42, and I think she's quite possibly the most overpowered hero at this point, which I've heard a lot of people saying Countess. Well, Countess, if you took the ability for her to just absolutely delete somebody, if you took that ability away from her, she would be a useless hero. And, you know, she can't just delete people every, you know, couple of seconds like Kallari. I actually end up later in this match going head-to-head against their pretty fed carry, and that he was Murdoch, so he was able to keep a distance on me, but I'm almost able to delete this carry, which I miss a dagger, and that would have, you know, that was the difference in the win and loss. But I really wanted to see, because I just absolutely dominate, I wanted to see if I was in just a 1v1 with a carry, if I could actually accomplish that. And to an extent, yes and no. I think if I would have got the jump on him a little bit better and, you know, didn't miss that dagger, it would have been just a one-sided fight. But he was able to take me out. So, I don't know, I still kind of feel she's a little overpowered, and I think she needs some tuning. Especially if I was able to put that Hellfire Engine on, he would have had no chance, you know, I would have one-shot him. And I don't really feel that that's good for a hero like Kallari. But, hey, I'm playing her, we're just checking it out. I really want to see what I can do, and I've got to say, I'm really liking her. And I hope that when they do kind of balance her out, it doesn't make her useless like she was in version 41 and before. Now, the first thing I notice is she's got amazing jungle sustain. If you see here, I'm going after this 5 camp with barely any health. Of course, I do have Living Guardian, but before this, I would have never been able to take this camp out with this low amount of health, without, you know, a health potion or anything like that. I wouldn't have even attempted it. And you see, I am able to clean this camp out, which, you know, in my opinion, it makes her a very viable jungler, especially since she doesn't have lane push. I think she really fits well in the jungle now. Now, we are in a 5-stack with the pirate crew, so that really helps us to really utilize our kits and just kind of sync up well together. We have Wukong in the off lane, a Gideon in mid lane, Twin Blast and Narbash in our safe lane, and we're able to communicate well, and this really helps me as a Kallari be able to get these kills and, you know, kind of play that assassin role if I have just better communication of what's going on. Now, I still have not got used to the dagger. I just really have never played her since her rework, and they changed her dagger, and it's just throwing me off. I miss being able to actually aim it and hit it. Now, I do sacrifice myself to take out their ADC, which, you know, I'm not exactly sure if that was the best call. Kallari really needs to get fed, and, you know, so does the ADC, but Wukong ends up going down right there too, so it definitely was not worth a jungle and an offlaner for that ADC kill, but hopefully that will allow that lane to push back and we can sustain that lane just a little bit longer. A steel support is really hard to deal with just because he can be such a bully. Now, Grux is trying to get the green buff, and I'm able to get a dagger on it and actually take out that green buff. So, I ended up stealing it from him. I really wish that he wouldn't have been there. It would have been nice to be able to actually use that green buff for something else. And Gadget ends up rotating. So, we kind of get into a little fight here. Gideon missed his ult, and we end up just having to disengage. Now, they do have a ward up somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where that ward is. I was in that fight, and I did not realize that they actually had a ward up until I actually started editing this video, or I would have definitely got that ward out. But I'm going to go ahead and assume that Gadget's placing wards down, which I would like to see that come back. You know, have that mid laner put those wards down. The mid lane is such a more dangerous lane than it used to be now. And as the jungler, I feel that it is more beneficial to gank mid lane than it is to actually gank off lane. Just with the speed and the amount everybody farms, mid lane's always been a very critical position, but it really feels to me now getting that mid lane tower down is more important than ever, and with them not having vision, it's so easy to get those caster ganks. Now, a few minutes later, I end up having to go into our off lane. Grux ended up having invis buff and got a great gank on Wukong, and so we have to go over there and defend. Now, luckily Narbash is here, and we're going to be able to hold this lane off and kind of keep damage from getting to it. The enemy ends up backing off, but for whatever reason, and I mean, this still is, I still don't get it, their Grux was taking our offlane jungle camp. And if you see here, I just run right past him. I didn't even realize he was doing it, and then I hear Narbash, you know, screaming his head off over there using his thunk and whatnot. And we end up getting this Grux kill. Now, I did use my ult just to make sure we secured that kill. I did not realize Twin Blast had shown up. We're able to secure that kill, and then we get a good bit of damage on to Murdoch. And they just kind of retreat into their tower. Now, we're all three right here, and this has left our safe lane tower wide open for Wukong to get to. And this was just a really bad call on our part, and since I don't have my ult, I can't head over there to actually do anything about that. Luckily, I was able to tell, you know, Twin and Narbash, hey, go defend safe lane. I'm gonna go back in jungle. I didn't really feel like pushing into that tower and maybe getting it, but, you know, having to die for it. And I'm just going to head back into the jungle, clear out some jungle camps, and continue to farm. Now, early game in version 42 is all about farming, and I see a lot of junglers making just tons and tons of rotation, but even if you're in a 5-stack, if you're not playing like a solid team with strategies and things like that, rotating like you used to in version 41 and before, actually, I kind of feel it hurts the team. I think getting that farm is just massively important. And at the end game, our Narbash ended up having, I want to say, like 21, 22 points, which is an insane amount for a, support hero. So unlike version 41 and before, jungling was kind of, I'm over and done with at, around the 20-minute mark. Now, jungling is viable pretty much the whole entire time you play, or the entire match, which the matches are only lasting, 30 minutes now. So, it's much faster, but as the jungler, you're always wanting to clear those jungle camps just to really help your team out. Now, I am able to secure my green buff, and I go ahead and head to this jungle camp, and I'm just going to kind of clear out these jungle camps when I realize, hey, let's try to push mid lane and get the mid lane tower down. Now, we do have the safe lane tower down, but they can't really push up too far without, or push up too far safely without having more of the towers down. Now, I do make just absolute short work of this gadget. Narbash was there to thunk her just to remove any chance of her getting out, and we're able to push this lane. Now we do end up getting this mid tower down, which is great. Like I mentioned earlier, I really think mid towers are kind of the key to Paragon. I've really felt that since Monolith came out. I would like to eventually see, the mid lane turn into the safe lane, but that can be kind of tricky, especially with burst casters hitting as hard as they do now. You kind of want to get those burst casters together, but it would be nice to play with the ADC and the support being in that mid lane. And maybe if everybody gets together and we do get another 5-stack, maybe we could try that out. It would definitely be interesting, and it would definitely be interesting to record and actually show everybody if it's successful or not. Now, don't forget, these games are lower skill level or lower elo games, and we are just a bunch of people that are playing together. We don't have strategies or anything like that at this point. I would definitely like to get there one day, but we still are very much just a handful of people playing together. We're not a true team at this point. Now, I end up getting that Murdoch kill fairly easy, and I kind of juke out that steal. He thought I was going one way, I ended up going the other way. So I end up juking him out, and I'm able to get out. Unfortunately, Wukong ended up staying in a little too long, and he ends up going down right there. But that's okay. We ended up taking out that tower and getting an ADC kill, so it was definitely worth. At 17 minutes in, we end up taking Raptors, and after leaving the Raptor pit, Wukong was pushing. Now, I end up going in on him, but I was not planning on even trying to get that kill. I just want to get him out of the lane. It would have been nice to get that kill, but there's really no point in chasing Wukong. If you can't keep him stunned and don't burst him down significantly at the beginning, he's probably going to get away. Now, not chasing him or ulting him allowed me to get this ult onto Murdoch. Now, I go ahead and chase this steal. I was thinking I got a lot more of a speed boost out of stealth mode, but I am kind of realizing you don't get much, and I was thinking he was going to turn around at that wave, but I think he realized I was, hot on his tail, and so he was just bucking it. Fortunately, he was taken down, fairly low, so if he doesn't back, he's not going to be able to have as much of an impact. He might be able to defend a tower, but, he's not a whole lot of a threat. Now, I think Gadget heard me go into my, into the shadow plane, And if I was her, I think I would have just ran through that tower, but I ended up letting her go anyways. I don't have the mana, and we're getting pretty far into their side of the map, so I'm just going to let her go and, you know, kind of go back and farm. I have not been able to farm as much because I've been making quite a few rotations. Now, this is one of the things that I think this really needs to be looked at about Kallari. Now, I go ahead and pick up the green buff, and I just immediately ult over onto this fully health Murdoch. I'm able to absolutely destroy him and then take out this steal. And you know, that's a tank and an ADC. Although you could say, hey, I'm more farmed, I'm more fed than they are. Yeah, that's true, but I should not be able to just massacre people. And I do have another really good example coming up of the same kind of thing, except it's under a tower. And I don't know, I just kind of feel that's a very unfair advantage. And although it's enjoyable to just be able to slaughter people, it doesn't really teach you how to play Paragon better, or teach you how to play, you know, it doesn't promote competition. It promotes just, hey, you can do whatever you want at a certain point. You're indestructible. Now, right here, I go in on this Grux. I really wanted to keep Wukong alive. That was the only reason I stayed in there. And fortunately, he was able to get out, and I end up taking out that Murdoch just, you know, in a few hits. Now, I am nowhere close to being max build either, but it's just insane how much damage I'm able to do. This allows me to rotate into their jungle and take their green buff, and I just use their green buff to head back to my jungle and clean out my jungle. Now, this is the play that I was talking about, that I don't really feel this is fair. Now, I've still got their green buff on. This is the enemy's green buff, and I know it's about to go out, so I ult over to this gadget, explode my green buff on her, hit her once, and kill her under her tower without taking really any damage at all. And you know, that feels very unfair to me. That insane amount of burst damage that she can do absolutely nothing about. She thinks she might be kind of, you know, in a safer position under that tower trying to defend, and I'm able to just ult over and one-shot her. It feels unfair in my opinion, and I just don't really like that I'm able to do that. Of course, you know, if I can do it, there's no reason not to. It just does not feel like it's in good sportsmanship. You know, if you're talking about making Paragon an esport, I would say there needs to be some sort of sportsmanship-like behavior. Now, I end up grabbing this red buff from the river, and Wukong was actually clearing out the raptors, and he's pretty low, so I'm gonna try to chase, see if I can hit him a little bit, but of course, you know, he's Wukong. I'm not able to hit him, and I'm not gonna waste an ult or anything too crazy on him. Now, I do kind of just hang out, see if I can make something happen right here. Now, I do know I'm able to just absolutely destroy this gadget, and so I end up go ahead and saying, hey, I'm gonna go in on her, and I take her out under her tower, under her ult. I mean, that's just crazy amount of damage. We're able to make really short work of Wukong here, and I just kind of back off and say, hey, you know, we need to leave this situation. They've had a pretty good rotation. We need to go try to push another lane. There's no sense in pushing the lane that they're all standing at. Now, one thing about Kallari is she's never had just the greatest wave clear. And with this new update, you can kind of see that she's got way better wave clear than she ever used to. And, I mean, you see, I'm just tearing these waves apart. We actually end up getting to the inhib, and before the enemy team even noticed, I take down this inhib. And, you know, that kind of goes along the lines of, hey, there needs to be some balance within Paragon right now. We've just kind of got a out-of-control card system. you know, I'm completely okay with making everybody strong, but the idea of making everybody overpowered is different. Just because you're strong, you can still be within the same power range as people, and that's that balance that we need to see. I don't think I'll be playing much more Kallari until they fix her. Not because she's not amazing, it's simply because I enjoy competitive, you know, nature. I don't want to just absolutely dominate because I'm playing a broken hero. That's really not enjoyable to me. If you see here, I go in on this tank, and there's nothing he can do. He just absolutely gets deleted. And, you know, that just feels very unfair to me, which you could consider Kallari an ADC because of her basic damage, but she should, I don't know. To me, I'm just not really feeling the whole, hey, she's crazy overpowered and can take down inhibs just crazy fast. And if you see here, go in on this inhib, well, I'm like, hey, Grux, you know, don't pull me. Go ahead and kill him. Go back into the inhib and destroy it. And then Gadget's here, and, you know, her only option is to just turn and run. And, yeah, like I said, I don't know if I enjoy that. Now, I go ahead and take down this inhib as well. So I've got 3 inhibs within, you know, a minute and a half of each other with a double kill or triple kill along with that. I'm still pretty much at full health, and the only reason I'm returning now is because I'm out of mana. Now at this point the game is really over, so I wanted to completely go in on this Murdoch and see if we could actually make something happen. Now, he's absolutely destroying me. I did miss that dagger. If I wouldn't have missed that dagger, I probably would have got that kill. But you can see a fed ADC is going to be able to wreck Kallari. Of course, there are a couple of cards I could have used there, and if I would have actually tried to escape, you know, or if if that wouldn't have been kind of a test, I would have never gone in on the Murdoch where I was. But that's just kind of showing, until you really get that, you know, deletion card on, you can't just do crazy, dumb things and go in on an ADC and expect to kill him. Now, I am not using the engine just because I put it on at one point, and I said, and you know, I started hitting things so hard, and it really took the joy out of it for me. So I ended up unequipping it, and that, you know, of course, that's 7,000 gold. But at that point, I didn't really need any more gold. But I really feel that having that just crazy overpowered card is just not fun. Now we end up making our final push here, and we head down to, you know, we just head straight down mid lane, and we're able to kind of wrap this game up. We've got all 3 of their inhibs, and we still have ours up. You know, it really wasn't going to be, I was never worried about this game ending in, you know, anything other than a win at this point. But, you know, hey, it's no big deal. I end up ulting the Grux just to make sure we secured that kill. I'm able to kind of spin around this corner and end up heading back in. I take out this Murdoch, and, you know, we're so strong right now. There's not a whole lot they can do to stop us. Well, that's going to wrap it up, guys, and I gotta say thanks to the Pirate Crew for playing. If you haven't joined the Pirate Crew, of course, there's that link for the Discord. It's really just kind of a chat, social thing where, hey, you want to play with some people. We haven't really formed solid teams yet or anything like that. It's really just, if you want some people to play with, join up and we can talk about it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, show me some love. Leave me a comment. Think about subscribing. And as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.